Hello YouTube. Today's video is going to be dedicated to showing you how to enjoy a cigar properly and enjoy it to the fullest. Now the cigar world and enjoying cigars, it's a very vast world. There's a lot of ways to do it, but this video is aimed to offer you some more insight on how I enjoy a cigar so that maybe you have a different perspective on cigars and you might employ some of the tips and tricks that I tell you. Now of course, cigar enjoyment, it is up to you how you want to enjoy your cigar. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you some tricks of how I enjoy a cigar. Now, first off, proper cigar enjoyment starts with humidity. Was the cigar kept in a well-humidified humidor? Or is it dry? Is it crackling? Is it poor quality? And honestly, unsmokable? That is a question you have to ask yourself before you even cut a cigar. There's several steps to enjoy a cigar. First, it is the quality of the cigar and if it has been properly kept. If you did not know, cigars are not cigarettes. They take a little bit more babying than a cigarette, and there's a lot of differences between cigars and cigarettes, which I'll continue to get into. But first off is humidity. You need to keep cigars at a humidity. What's recommended is 65 RH to 70 RH. RH meaning relative humidity. Me personally, and what I find to be the most enjoyable, is on the underside of 65. I enjoy my cigars from 62 to 65. I find that over humidified cigars impart a bitterness when you enjoy it. It's almost that because the tobacco leaves are a little bit too moist, the flame goes out easier and you taste the bitterness as the flame is struggling to stay alive. But right when you get to that 62-65% mark, the burn in the smoke is a lot more enjoyable. So that's step number one. Step number two is cutting the cigar. I already cut the cigar. I already cut it. You can see the tobacco is visible on the inside. I did a straight cut. But with cigars, there are different types of cutters out there. Right here, I have a V cut and a straight cut. This is a Robusto cigar. Robusto is the name of the vitola. Vitola meaning the shape of the cigar. A Robusto is 5 inches by a 50 ring gauge. And with Robustos, you can cut it any way you want. You can straight cut it, like how I did. You can also V cut it. You can punch cut it. Punch cutting it is just punching a hole in the center, and so that less of the tobacco is exposed. Right now, the full tobacco is exposed. A punch cut probably reduces the radius by 50%, or some people just peel it off. But for proper enjoyment of a Robusto, I tend to go for the straight cut. Different cigars, different vitolas, meaning shapes of cigars, sometimes some will say require different cut, but honestly, it's up to you. So after you've cut your cigar, the question is, how do I properly light my cigar? Before we could talk about lighting the cigar, we have to understand lighters and flames. I believe that a butane torch lighter is the way to go. The reason why that is, and the reason why I choose a butane lighter over a Zippo gas lighter or fluid lighter that uses Zippo fluid, is because of taste. This will impart a taste on your cigar. You'll taste the yucky burnt fluid, this lighter fluid. You can taste that. Butane gas imparts a neutral flavor. It's just like propane gas cooking on your grill. If you cook a steak on propane gas, you can't really taste that. What you can taste is lighter fluid on charcoal. Have you ever had a steak that has been lit and cooked over charcoal with tons of lighter fluid? You can taste that. Same thing goes with cigars. That's why butane torch is the way to go. Okay, so now that we talked about flames, when it comes down to lighting, you want to get a proper toast. A lot of people will put the cigar in their mouth and they'll go at it. They'll start, breathing in. They'll start forcing oxygen through it, sucking the flame into the cigar. I do not recommend that. The reason that is because the cigar blender is blending all these different tobaccos for you to enjoy all at once. I believe the best enjoyment of his cigar is when it is properly lit. So being properly lit is getting this thing to fully glow and fully be lit at the same time. If you see, I'm rotating my hand in a circular motion. Cigar lighting takes a lot more time than lighting a cigarette. I don't smoke cigarettes. I've never have. I don't recommend it. It's toxic for you. Cigarettes have 100 chemicals. Cigars are made with one ingredient, which is the tobacco leaf. If you didn't know, the 100 chemicals in cigarettes make it a lot more addictive. I digress. This is about lighting. I can go on and on about why cigarettes are stupid and why cigars are a lot different. But you see that this has taken me about a minute. Now that it is pretty much all glowing evenly, all the tobacco is lit at the same time, I want to blow on it. When I'm blowing on it, I get to see the red glow and get to see what is still not lit. Right now, you can see that the center needs a little touch up and isn't quite glowing like the outer edges. But now it is, and now you see that there is a little bit of ash starting to form. Now before I even take a puff, the virgin puff, I did not come up with that term, but that is a term in the cigar world. Before I take the virgin puff, I like to give it a good swirl. You get the aromatics in the air, but this is not to get the aromatics of the smoke in the air. This is to get the flame and the heat dispersed evenly. You know, fire and flame travel upwards. When you do this, you are ensuring that the cigar is lit on all corners. Now, if you look at that, that is a proper light. It is all burning at the same time. Now it is time for the puff. Delicious. This is a cheap cigar, but a cheap cigar can taste even better by cutting it, lighting it, and puffing on it correctly. So we went over proper storage, proper cutting, proper lighting. Now let's talk about how to inhale a cigar. I hate the word inhale, but how to take in a cigar. Cigarettes, people that smoke cigarettes, people that vape, people that smoke weed, terrible idea. Would never do that, ever. Don't recommend that. But they put the smoke, they let it travel into their lungs. That's how they get lung cancer. Cigar smoking, you are filling your mouth up with the smoke. You're tasting the nuance. It's like your wine tasting. You allow the smoke to cover your whole mouth, cover your tongue, and then you release. Never, ever do you want the smoke to enter your lungs. In order to do that, it can be hard for some people. In order to do that, I like to explain to people that it is almost like you are sucking from a straw. You're drinking a drink, and you're taking in the fluid, and you're letting the fluid fill up your mouth. You haven't swallowed the drink, but you're filling up your mouth with the fluid, and then you spit it out. It's the same muscular movements in your face. Great. Now, if you see, or if you can hear it, I have my fan on, you want proper air circulation. If you don't have proper air circulation, honestly, I should have this garage open right now, but it is way too cold. If you don't have proper air circulation, you can take in the smoke. You can breathe it in indirectly through your nose. You can get a secondhand smoke, which is something you want to avoid. That is basically it for today. Of course, you need an ashtray. One last thing about ash is that once you start enjoying the cigar, some of the ash will improperly burn. Might need a touch up there. That's why a butane lighter can come in handy to touch up the unevenness. But one thing about ash is that as you go down the cigar, you want to keep the ash on as long as possible. The reason that is because as equally so as I wanted to light the cigar evenly at the beginning, I want to make sure it stays lit underneath the ash properly at the same time. The longer the ash, the easier it is to stay lit. The second the ash falls off, the cigar starts to die. So that concludes my simple how-to video of enjoying a cigar and some tips and tricks of how I enjoy a cigar to the fullest. Of course, like I said, this is not a prescription on how you have to enjoy a cigar if you do decide to try it. This is only offering little insights onto making the most and enjoying it to the fullest. I appreciate you watching this presentation. We'll see you in the next video.